welcome, welcome, welcome. We are about to get started. Woo, 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 woo. You get it on the right side. This is our third Sturdy Woman Community live chat. And today, by popular demand, we did a poll. The choice was compression. I'm so thrilled to have you all here. I know many of you who joined early have already started introducing yourselves in the chat. If you're just logging on, please let us know. Who are you? Where are you? What is a big success that you've had since the last time we chatted? I see, let's see who we have here. Asuncion is excited to learn. Yes, so am I. I was learn more from all of you. Simone is here. And we have Diana from France. We have Ina from Charleston, South Carolina. Jeanette, so glad that you're here too, in Pennsylvania. Seattle, Asuncion is out west. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we have Yolanda from California, Stacy in Poland. Okay, we got a lot of Europe going on here today. I like it. Maine in the house, Minnesota. Okay, here comes our Midwest folks. Sherry from Southeast Missouri. Sherry, I don't know if I've ever said this. I grew up in Missouri. I grew up in Columbia, Missouri. I don't know how far away you are from there, Sherry, but that's my stomping ground as a child. You get some heat and some humidity. I know hot weather compression will be a big topic today. We have Jen from Phoenix. Jen will also want to talk about hot weather compression, I bet. Patricia in Virginia. Oh, that's wonderful, Patricia. She says she's already telling the difference. Just 1 month in compression. Okay, Sherry, you're down in the boot heel. You're a little bit further south than I was in Missouri. Okay, well, awesome. Keep the chats coming. You already know how to do that. Everyone is doing great. Keep the chats coming. Use the chat as a way to connect with each other. Okay, we've got 2 Arizona people in the house. We've got Donna from Southern Arizona. Make sure you connect with Jen, who's in the Phoenix area. Before we kick off, let me see if anyone else has come in. Okay. I just want to share, I posted this on the community tab a couple days ago, but it's really exclusive. I want to make sure that you all don't miss it if you are interested. Our last live was about keto, and my favorite keto brand, Perfect Keto, is doing a huge sale starting this weekend, and you can get first access using my link there below. So shop perfectketo.com/sturdywoman. I love their collagen powder, love their MCT oil powder, love their bars when I'm traveling. This is going to be one of their biggest sales of the year, and the good stuff is going to sell out. Trust me, it's happened to me. So if you think you might want something, use it to start shopping today before things sell out. And you can only access the sale through my code there. So jump on that if you are into keto. And if you have questions, I have information about a lot of the products on the channel. All right. The compression talk is already starting. Keep it up. Before we get too far into things, I just always like to start by kind of reflecting on why I call the channel Sturdy Woman. When I first launched it, I got some negative feedback. People didn't like the word. They said, stop calling me sturdy. I'm very offended. But to me, it's really a way of reclaiming what some people consider kind of an offensive term for someone's weight, and really like embracing that sturdy means like firmly built and constituted, physically strong and vigorous, which I think some of us don't feel like we are, but to move around our lipedema bodies all day, that requires so much strength. both physically and mentally, and really like confidence and determination. And that is really how I like to see myself. And really, I encourage you to see yourself too. Pause a lot. Oh my gosh, we are like starting big here. Pause a lot. Thank you so much for your contribution. And you're like jumping way ahead of me. Pause a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Those of you in the chat, you might see Pause a lot, just gave a $10 contribution of support to the channel. That really does make things like this, events like this possible. You probably don't realize I spent most of the day yesterday preparing for this live event. So Pause a lot. Really, really appreciate that support. Um, all right, you are already getting started. I know many of you have been here before, but I just want to really encourage you, use that chat, use that live chat. That's kind of the bonus of being here live and not watching the recording, right? Is you get to have that interaction with each other, connect with each other, share your experience, ask each other questions. I will be really honest with you. I do not know everything about compression. I'm not a lymphedema therapist. I'm not a compression specialist. I'm just a woman with lipedema and lymphedema who has bought a lot of compression and worn a lot of it over the past 5 years. It's wild to say that it's been 5 years. But use that, but do remember that the live chat will be posted along with this recording. So don't share any of your personal information or anything like that that you don't want publicly available on the internet. And then Pause a lot, you were ahead of me. Some of you should be able to see in the chat. If you're curious how they did that, you can click on the chat. There is a little button right next to the smiley face. And if you click that, it'll give you an option to do a sticker or a chat, which is also helpful for me because it makes it stand out. So if you have something that you really, really want me to see, you can use that as a way to flag it to me. But I'm doing my best to read everything as we go along. Okay, so I see there's already chat about CzSalus, and I think I'll like go ahead and kick us off by just showing a little bit of the compression that I often wear and kind of how it's worked for me. And let's see how this goes. Okay, so the compression that I generally wear on a day-to-day basis is the CzSalus K2. There's K1 and K2, and the difference is the strength of the compression. So the K1 is a lighter compression, the K2 is a heavier compression. And then they have a different texture. And I do have a video that goes into all the details of that. But I'm showing you here. So the K1 is kind of like I call it a honeycomb texture. And then the K2 is more of a wave. So that is one of the big differences that you see is the difference in the texture and then the difference in how strong it is. I usually wear the K2. I don't know. At this point, my swelling is pretty well controlled with keto. So I may be able to do well in the K1, but generally I just wear the K2, which is a little bit heavier fabric. So those of you worried about hot weather, keep that in mind as well. So as that plays, I'm also going to help me keep, let's see how, we haven't done this in the past, but let's see if this is helpful. I'm going to start a Q&A, and you can drop your questions in there, and then hopefully that will help me not lose them in the chat as you're all connecting with each other. Okay, So hopefully you all are now seeing a way to submit questions to the Q&A. And hopefully you can also still chat. So if you have a question and you want to make sure that I see it and it doesn't get lost in the chat, go ahead and use that Q&A. Let's see how that works this time. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone's important questions. Okay, I see some questions already coming in the chat. Before I restart what I'm doing, main paper pusher, yes, main paper pusher. I have lipedema, lymphedema, and chronic venous insufficiency. I call it like the triple crown. So you are not alone. Not everyone does, but it is relatively common to have vein problems along with lipedema or lymphedema. So I'm going to continue. So we have our K1 and our K2. And again, this is CzSalus. And you can see how it fits on me. I am, for reference, I'm just shy of 5 feet 5 inches tall. And you can see it comes up almost to my chest. It comes up over my stomach, which I like because that helps keep it from rolling down when I sit down. I find when it's kind of in the middle, it tends to roll down. And you can see it comes down halfway over my foot, and then it has seams on the side. I've had that question a few times. Some people like the seams in the back. CzSalus has seams on the side. And this is how I often wear it. Let me see if I can send it back for you. This is how I often wear it. I get that question a lot. How do you wear your compression? I wear it under jeans, really like 99% of the time. I wear it under jeans or dress slacks or some kind of pants. And that's just what I do. That's life. You can see, it kind of comes down what it looks like under my pants there with my sneakers. And this is a really important thing that I want to just pause on. I get questions a lot saying, oh my God, I opened the package. These look like pants for like a doll. There's no way that I can get these on my body. It's going to look like that the first time. So in the picture here, you can see the kind of dark red burgundy pair I've never worn, fresh out of the package. That gray pair I've worn just one time, right? So you can see how much that is going to stretch and mold to your body. So each time you put it on, it's going to stretch and kind of customize to your body. That also means it's going to wear out over time, right? All that stretching is going to wear it out. So you do need to replace your garments like every 3 to 6 months, kind of depending how many you have and how you're rolling through them. But just to note, like, don't be scared when you take it out of the package. The first time is always the hardest, and then it's going to get easier from there. So those are fresh out of the package compression. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the summertime. But before we do that, I'm going to scroll up. I know some questions were coming in. Okay, pause a lot. We're about to talk about summertime. So pause a lot. I'm about to show you what the summertime looks like on me. I'm 5'5". I would not be able to pull it down over my foot. You're going to see what it looks like. Diana, I wear my compression all day, every day. Start with what you can manage. If you can't do it all day, do it for a couple hours. The most useful times to wear it are going to be when you are exercising, when you're going to be on your feet. Start with what you can and then gradually build up as you're able. It is usually not recommended to wear at night. The only time you would wear compression at night is if you had a doctor tell you that you need to. It's important to take that time to let your skin like have a break from the garment. But sometimes there are medical reasons that a doctor or a lymphedema therapist might tell you to wear something at night, and they'll tell you to wear a different one. So they'll instruct you to wear a different garment at night if you need to. But if no one's told you you need a garment at night, don't wear your garment when you're sleeping. I wear mine all day, every day. Put it on when I get up, take it off at night when I take my shower and go to bed. Yolanda, the Q&A should be showing up at the top of the chat window. If you can't find it, go ahead. You can still put your questions in the chat. I'll do my best to try to find them. Main paper pusher, I hope I just answered your question about wearing them overnight. Um, Cheese is its own food group. One, I agree with your name. It should be. Um, which brand are you talking about when you say do they make them for tall gals like me? Stacy 007, you are the same height as me, and we are in that terrible category where we're not quite short and we're not quite regular length. Yes, I have had some challenges with getting the right length. One thing that tripped me up is the CzSalus size chart. The length changes depending on the size. So I sized down as I lost weight. And in the larger sizes, I was wearing a short. But then when I got down to like a large and medium, I needed the regular length. And just that tiny, tiny difference of like 1 inch, half an inch, was making the garments like a nightmare for me to wear. I just couldn't, I couldn't manage it. So 5'5" is a really challenging height. And then there are other garments where I've had them just be way too long and not offer anything shorter. Um, okay, cheese as its own food group is looking for any brand of compression with longer lengths. I'm gonna have to look into that. I know I have seen some, but if anyone has tips, if anyone else is having the opposite problem, I'm almost a shorty. If anyone else is at the higher end, closer to 6 foot, if you have found a compression that is longer, please go ahead and share that in the chat so that we can help out. Cheese is its own food group. Um, okay, beautiful. Diana, the benefits of wearing compression for sure. So, lipedema is a lymphatic disorder, right? One of the things that really impacted me when I went to the Fat Disorders Resource Society conference a couple years ago was hearing Dr. Herbst, who is really like the foremost lipedema doctor in the US, say that fat loves a fluid rich environment and fat is going to thrive and get bigger, which we don't want it to do in a fluid rich environment. So when you wear compression, you're helping to move that fluid up and out of your tissue, which is going to remove that fluid that's kind of feeding those fat cells. It also, for me, keeping my swelling under control does amazing things for my energy. I used to have a lot of fatigue, I used to have a lot of brain fog, and that's because that kind of stagnant, dirty fluid was just hanging out in my body. Your lymphatic system's job is to clear waste out of your body. And that fluid is waste. It's basically like garbage that's not getting taken out to the curb. And so wearing compression puts that ever so slight pressure on your tissue that encourages and helps your lymph and all of that yuck move up and out of your body. You don't want it hanging out and staying in there. I hope that's helpful. If anyone else wants to chime in, please do. Okay, so we had some questions about um, CzSalus summertime. And I'm going to go ahead and start showing that. Let's look at the hot weather compression. So this is what it's called, CzSalus summertime. And you can see, so the fit on me is really similar to the K1 and the K2, right? You can see it comes up over my stomach, not quite as high, but still high enough that it doesn't bother me. And the big difference is it doesn't have a foot. If you remember, the K1 and the K2 covered my foot about midway. The summertime is ankle length. So it only comes in one length. There's no regular, there's no short. It's all ankle length. And I'm 5'5", and that's about where it hits me. And then there you can see the texture of the summertime garment. So I kind of consider it a little bit between the K1 and the K2. Remember, the K1 is kind of like that honeycomb diamond, and then the K2 is the wave. This is kind of like a wave, but a little bit more spread out than in the K2 garment. So it does have a texture to it. And again, this is the K1 summertime, which is the most commonly available one. And you can see this is how I might wear it. This is where you can see me wearing the running shorts there. That's often how I exercise. I just pop my shorts on over it, really so that I have a pocket for my keys. And then again, I would wear it with jeans. And the nice thing about it being footless is you can wear sandals and your compression isn't showing. I see in the chat, Main Paper Pusher also recommends BioFleck. Yes, BioFleck is another popular brand that you see people go for. The difference with BioFleck is it doesn't usually have a compression rating on it. So when you look at many compression brands, you'll see like millimeters of mercury, right? And you'll see some numbers, 18 to 20 or 20 to 25 or things like that. Often you don't see that on the BioFleck. The BioFleck does have a nice texture like we've seen on these CzSalus garments. So it is going to give you that lymphatic massage. It's going to gently tug your skin as you move, but it's not going to give you as much compression as some of the other brands. But especially if you have very sensitive, painful tissue, it might be a great place to start. But certainly BioFleck has a lot of different options, and they have in addition to like full length, they also have kind of like capris or more like bike shorts that are more like knee length or something like that. Especially if you're trying to mix and match garments, that might be something to consider about. Anna Mavera Mendoza, I see you're looking for capri. So Bioflex does have a capri. That might be something to look for. Oh, beautiful. Stacy, reaching back to what I was saying earlier about the Perfect Keto sale this weekend. She said they do ship internationally, and it sounds like it was really reasonable. That's great to know. Um, we are about to talk about another brand of compression. Okay, great. Yes, and I talk a lot about CzSalus because that's what I wear. I don't have a relationship with them. They don't pay me anything, nothing like that. It's just what I wear and what has worked really well for me. But I really need those of you in the chat who wear other things, please, please, please share your experience because we all have different bodies, and what works well for me may not work well for other folks. So that was CzSalus K1, K2, and summertime. I have also tried Marena. I tried some Marena because people were asking me for alternatives. And one of the things that you'll see about Marena is it doesn't have a texture. That's why I wanted to try it. I was having people reach out to me and say they didn't like textured garments. They wanted something that was smooth. So Marena is a smooth garment, and I'll show you a little bit more close up of the fabric here in a minute. But I wanted to stop and kind of show you the fit, right? You can see the fit is really similar to that CzSalus. It's coming halfway down on my foot, and then it's coming really high up, really like to my rib cage, right? Right under my bra line there. And it does, I know someone was asking a question about uncomfortable ankles. It does have a special ankle feature. So here's kind of what it looks like at the top. And the one thing I would say here is I bought a large and I almost bought a medium, but the size chart said I needed a large, so I bought it, and I'm glad that I did because of the waistband. The waistband is not as stretchy as the other parts of the garment, and I think if I had sized down, I would have a hard time getting that waistband up over my ample booty. But it's a secure waistband. I don't have problems with it like rolling down, anything like that. And because it's a smooth garment, it really like moves nicely under your clothes. And so here is that ankle feature for the person who said like the ankle feels like a tourniquet for them. So they have a special, I don't really understand the like mechanics of it, but they have a special design on the Marena compression for ankles, and it's supposed to make the ankle less painful. And basically, there's this little like pocket where the fabric overlaps, and it's supposed to make it move more gently over that area. And so here I'm trying to kind of show you what that looks like. It's really just like an overlap and an opening in the fabric designed to make the ankle more comfortable. And then here is kind of a close-up of what that fabric looks like. On the inside, it's really like almost silky. Once I get them on, I really like can almost forget that I'm wearing them. Um, but yeah, I really enjoy like wearing it for work things, like professional things. I once, let me find where I want to go next. I once wore Marena compression like under a jumpsuit to a nice party, and that worked really well. I don't like it as much for exercising. So I love my CzSalus because of how it breathes. And when I'm exercising, I feel like this, I don't feel like the sweat is just sitting on my skin. When I exercised in the Marina, I don't know how to say this other than to just say, like, I felt really wet. Like, I just felt like my sweat was just like sitting, getting soaked up by the garment, and then just like there. And I sweat a lot. I'm a very heavy sweater. So for like professional things and wearing under nice clothes, I think Marina is a great option. But I did not like it as much for exercise. Okay, let me check in and see what there's been so much going on in the chat. Um, Anna, I see you saying I've tried many so far on CzSalus. Yeah. So one thing you might consider, Anna, is custom sizing. And I know you're saying like, oh my God, I can't afford custom sizing. It is shockingly affordable in CzSalus. So many of the brands you look at custom sizing, and it's wildly inaccessible financially, right? But you can order custom sizing from CzSalus, and I've had multiple people reach out in the last couple weeks and say they did it and they were super happy with the results. So if you're struggling to find something that fits quite right, that certainly could be an option. And I'm going to share with you all. I should have done this earlier. I made a resource guide for us. It is linked in the description for this. So if you have the watch page open, it should just be in the video description, but I will put it here as well. I'll chat it. Um, and I have a link there to where you can order the CzSalus custom size. And so if you feel like everything else about the garment is kind of what you're looking for, but you're struggling with the size, look at that. It might be more affordable than you are thinking. And if anyone here right now has ordered CzSalus custom, I haven't because the standard sizes work for me. But if someone has tried it, please go ahead and share your experience in the chat. Like I said, I've heard a couple positive reviews from folks, but certainly there could be other perspectives. Okay, I'm trying to find anything else that I missed. All right, more folks are saying they love BioFleck. Awesome. Um, Question, what do I recommend for a long 13-hour flight? For sure. Um, it's up to you, Anna. I would, you're asking if I would wear summertime. Usually I try to maximize my compression on flights. I do have videos where I've talked about traveling internationally. I always wear my K2, my CzSalus K2 when I'm flying, but if you are going to be more comfortable in the summertime, like by all means do it, see how it goes. For me, because I have so much swelling, I think if I wore the summertime, I'd get a lot of swelling in my feet. Um, but we're all different. Maybe your swelling is not as bad as mine. But that's why I've generally worn the K2 is I want that compression on my feet to try to give them as much support as I can. And I have slept successfully on the airplane in that K2 compression. Stacy 007 is having ankle bunching problems. Yeah, so that seems like a length issue. So check really closely at the size chart. CzSalus, I feel like this is like a general PSA, public service announcement to send out is look really closely at the lengths when you are ordering. Don't just assume that if you were a short in one size, you're going to be a short in another size or a regular, vice versa. I really got I ordered like 10 pairs once that were short when they should have been regular. And that really wasn't cool. So I don't want anyone else to have them happen to them. If you're having like pain and bunching around the ankle, that seems like a size issue. So check the size chart. And if the size chart is still not looking like it's going to give you what you need, consider that. Look at the pricing for the custom. It's like I said, to me, I thought it was shockingly affordable compared to what other brands charge for compression. The waistband feels loose after a couple of days. Um, Probably, I mean, how does the rest of the garment fit? I guess would be my question. And how worried are you about having compression on that part? For me, I really am most concerned about compression at my feet and my ankles and my legs and keeping things moving up and out. And if the compression feels good and feels sufficiently strong in those areas, I would be less concerned about a loose waistband unless it means that it's like sliding down. You don't want it sliding down and bunching. Rebecca, I agree. I love the way I feel when I'm wearing my compression too. I remember the first time I put on a pair, I literally felt like I'd probably lost 50 pounds. I just felt like so supported. I felt like energized. I was like, why, this is magic. Why did no one ever tell me about this before? Um, Perfect. Um, Simone, like we said earlier, generally you don't need to wear compression at night unless you've had a doctor or lymphedema therapist tell you that you need to. And if you do need to, it's going to be a different, lighter garment. It's really important to give your skin that time at night to kind of have a break from the fabric. Okay, beautiful. Let me go next. Okay, let me check our Q&A. There is some stuff in there. Let me see if I am missing anything. Okay, so I think I answered this question about the ankle tourniquet. Um, Yolanda says, where do I find compression leggings in California? Yolanda, online. I think I would be curious. Does anyone put in the chat how many people have shopped for compression like in a real life store? I've never done that. I've never gone and had someone measure me. Um, Mostly because I was diagnosed at the very beginning of the COVID quarantine, so you couldn't go to a store. I've always bought all my compression online, but I'd be really curious to hear if anyone has gone to a store and had someone help them out. Um, Great question, Yolanda. I'll be curious what folks say. Let's go to the next one. Patricia says, my compression stockings tend to sag after wearing a while. Do I just order a smaller size or try another company? So a couple things could be happening there. They could be stretching out. You could be losing, one, you could be losing fluid because they are working, right? The whole idea is to decongest the tissue and get the fluid moving up and out. So as that happens, if you have a lot of swelling, you may lose enough that your compression becomes less tight. So you could be losing fluid, you could be losing weight, and the garment could be wearing out. You do want to replace them every like 3 to 6 months, depending on how many pairs you're rotating through and how often you're wearing them. Anytime you start to see, I meant to bring an old pair in here to show you. Anytime you start to see what I call like little whiskers on it, which are particularly easy to see on like the black garments, that's going to be a sign that the fibers are breaking and not working as well anymore. So check for those, and that'll be a sign that your garment is wearing out and needs to be replaced. I generally get a good 6 months out of each pair that I have, but it's going to depend on the brand, how you're washing it, things like that. Yolanda, I think I just answered this question. You have another question in here about custom fit. I have heard from a number of people recently that they love, love, love their custom, particularly from CzSalus. You can get custom from a lot of brands. the price point is going to vary widely. Um, but 100%, if you are not, which so many of us, right, our the thighs are big, or our booty is big, or our calves are big. That's just how lipedema works, right? So if you're having a hard time getting something that fits within the standard sizes, definitely think about custom and think about having someone. That might be a moment where you want to have a physical therapist or someone in a brick and mortar store help you measure, or at least have a friend help you measure, so that you get really accurate measurements on that garment. Um, Nakinka, I am not familiar with Hoopla 6. Let me highlight this so that others can see it. Um, Nakina is asking about Hoopla 6. I'm not familiar with what that is. Maybe that is a brand. Um, but if someone else knows, please do respond to her in the chat. And then I'm going to highlight so everyone can see. She's got another question here about another brand that I'm not familiar with. I don't know how to say this. HU pot two, who pot, HU pot. I'm not really sure. Um, I'm guessing that's like a POTS compression garment. Yeah, she says it's meant for POTS. I'm not familiar with either of those brands. I will certainly write that down and look into it. If anyone else has experience, please do share in the chat. Let's See is asking about compression garments with stirrups. I've never worn those because I like to have that coverage on my foot, but certainly I like the idea of it in that it helps keep it from like creeping up, right? Um, that's all I can say about stirrups. Asuncion says, I'm not fond of the full body. I liked the green ones in the picture. Oh, the green, are you talking, Asuncion, you must be talking about the thumbnail on this video. Those were actually full-length CzSalus leggings that I was pulling up with donning gloves. They look like they're just on my knees, but they're actually full-length leggings that I was in the process of donning. When I started my compression journey, I did wear knee highs, and that was not good because stopping right at the knee was really putting a lot of extra strain on my veins, and that's where that venous insufficiency challenge comes in. Um, Main paper pusher says, are there scientific reasons for the difference in patterns? Probably. Probably. I'm sure they work slightly differently. I am not an expert, so I don't know for sure. But the whole idea is that they gently indent in your skin, and then as you move, it tugs on it and simulates that lymphatic drainage. But I would think the more dense pattern is going to have kind of a more it certainly digs into your skin slightly more, and is maybe going to give you a little bit more drainage. Patricia Jobst for sure. So she's asking, have I heard of Jobst? Yes, certainly. It is one of the brands generally, in my experience, and someone correct me, I could be wrong. I think they do a lot of round knit compression. There is round knit compression and flat knit compression. CzSalus is a flat knit compression, meaning it's going to have those seams on the side. It's going to have kind of a standard compression throughout. Jobst will, many of the ones I've seen look a little bit more like pantyhose. And I have this similar pair here from Medivane that I bought a year or so ago, thinking maybe I would wear them to the office, and I immediately regretted it, wished I could return it and get my money back. I just didn't feel like it was giving me the sort of support that I needed, and I also felt like I was gonna just destroy the garment really fast. Um, Patricia, you're asking about donning. We are going to get there. She asked, what's the easiest way to get them on? She's reading my mind in advance. Okay. Let's keep going. And actually, let's go. I'm trying to get back to you. Okay. All right. Since we just had a question about donning, let me actually, I have a short little demo here I'm going to play for you of using donning gloves, which are something that you can use to make it easier to put on your compression. And I'm using like actual donning gloves I bought in this video, but you can also use any sort of rubber glove. Like if people have told me they use gardening gloves, the rubber gloves like you might use to clean the bathroom or wash the dishes. Just make sure it's not something that's going to snag or damage your garment or that's dirty. Here's an example. These are some really affordable donning gloves I got off Amazon. These are special donning gloves designed for compression. This has a really nice texture on it that's going to help it grab the garment and easily pull it up. All I'm doing is putting them on the sides of my legs and gently massaging, tugging up, and it's making it nice and smooth. It's important to get your donning gloves in the right size. If they're too big, they're gonna slip off your hands while you're trying to put on your compression. I assumed small would be the right size for me. I'm glad I measured though, because I ended up buying a medium and that was the right size for me. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I can't remember now who asked the question about donning, but donning gloves are something that can certainly help. And I know, especially in the winter when my hands are already dry, if I'm putting on a pair for the first time where there's like all of that extra tugging, my hands can get really chapped. I hear someone putting in the chat like breaking nails for sure, like snagging your nails and potentially damaging your garment as you're doing that, right? So donning gloves are an option, and if you have a latex sensitivity, they do have other types that are latex free. But I want to kind of show you an example of what not to look for, because when I was making that video about donning gloves, I bought more than one pair, and I was so angry that I could not return these. Do not buy these. These are terrible. Let me put it where you can see a true form. I was so angry I couldn't return these. They did not work at all. And they were a latex free pair. Look at the difference, right? Let me hold this up so you can see. Look at how like slippery that is. The one I showed in that other video had that nice kind of texture to it. This, like when I tried to use it, it just slid over the garment. It didn't grip it, it didn't pull it, it didn't help me at all. And these were not expensive, but I was furious that I could not return them. So when you're looking for a donning glove, look for something that's going to have some kind of texture or be able, not an aggressive one that's going to damage your garment, but something that's going to help it be able to grab on. I would agree with you, main paper pusher. They say that it might make the garment last longer for sure. It's that tugging on it that's gonna wear out the fibers. And so if you're kind of moving it more gently and doing less tugging, it sure might. extend the life of your garment, and especially with garments that are a little bit more delicate. We talked about the CzSalus summertime earlier. That because it's a lighter garment designed for hot weather, it is like more delicate. It's not as thick and sturdy as, something like the K2. And so I do actually recommend using donning gloves with the summertime, in part to make sure that you don't accidentally rip it and damage it. Okay, so we've covered a lot so far. I want to move to our next question. And I don't think I showed this. I think we skipped over this, but I just want to make sure. Sandy, I think we answered your question. Sandy in the Washington, D.C. area said she just got her CzSalus. It's daunting. She has donning gloves, but are there tips to get it on? Sandy, I hope something that we shared in the last little segment was helpful and encouraging to you. I know they look really small, but you can do it. You can get them on. You already have donning gloves. Just take it slow. Sit, take your time. Don't do it when you're in a hurry. Um, Talented Tadpole says, wish they did pale nude color. CzSalus does have something I call medical beige. It's that color that's no one's skin color, right? Regardless of what your skin color is. But that does kind of work for wearing like under white clothes or things like that. That is something that I wish they did a little bit better, was kind of a variety of skin tones for different folks, but they do have that quote unquote medical beige color. Yeah, I agree. Kind of cadaverous, like it's no one's actual skin color, regardless of who you are. Um, a question that we got that I know, especially our Arizona folks, want to talk about, and those of the other folks that we have in the southern U.S. I don't think we have anyone from Australia because of the time difference, but hot weather. So G Barnett 9470 asked about cool compression leggings. And then she also asked about my swim leggings. I quite some time ago had posted some videos about some swim leggings that I got from Land's End that are capris, but they really just look like black running tights, but they're designed for swimming, so they're like resistant to chlorine and all of those other kind of pool chemicals. And I have really enjoyed those as an alternative to like a traditional swimsuit. And then you can wear your little like tankini top or like mix and match with whatever. And I've had those for a couple years now, and taken them on a couple trips, taken them out quite a bit, and those are doing really well, G Barnett. So I do really recommend those. And I got mine from Land's End, but certainly it's becoming more popular. You can find Torrid has some great uh, swim leggings. Those of you in the US, I'm not sure if you can get Torrid outside the US, but they certainly go up, I think, even to like a 6X at Torrid. So check out, I'm really happy to see more inclusive kind of swim offerings the last few years, even at Target. And then coolest compression leggings. So I am a big fan, like I said earlier, of the CzSalus summertime. Last year, I did wear those to Florida, New Orleans, uh, Indonesia, Thailand, Malawi. Um, I wore my CzSalus summertime on all of those trips under pants. Um, I want to clear. I want to like be clear about that. I was working for most of those trips, and was like dressed in professional clothes with those. In Florida, I did go to the beach. In Indonesia, yes, I did go to the beach. Um, but I found that the CzSalus worked well for me. I do have a couple of videos about how I have one. I have a video review of the CzSalus summertime, and that's linked in the resource guide if you want to kind of see all the details of that. On that video, someone recommended, and I haven't tried this, so I can't like vouch for it personally, but someone recommended in the comments for that. I wanted to make sure that I gave you like all the options today. They said they really like Sigvaris for hot weather. I think this was someone who lived in Florida, and she said, I love Sigvaris toeless. So I have that linked, what I think she's talking about. I have that linked in the resource guide, which I will drop here. But if anyone else here right now has a tip for hot weather compression, this is your signal to share it. And you all got super quiet in the chat, and I don't know if that means my chat isn't working or if you've exhausted all the things that you have to say. Um, Let me see if we've had questions pop in. Sue has put a question in here about upper arms, and we can talk about arm compression in a minute, Sue. I have some content about arm compression as well. I'm going to write that down so I don't lose it in our shuffle here. Okay, so I've shown you a couple examples of how I wear my compression, but I'm curious, how do you wear your compression? Do you ever, people have different feelings about it. Some people love to wear the bright colors and love to show them and don't mind like wearing a skirt. I've certainly done that sometimes, especially when it's hot, worn like a knee length denim skirt, over my compression. What's your favorite way to style it? Diana, goodbye. Thank you for being here. Share some ideas. Do you like to show it off? Do you like to keep it covered up? Um, it might vary depending on the season and where you live. I agree, Christine. Linen is a very I think you mean cooling fabric rather than cooking, but correct me if I'm wrong. And certainly when I was traveling last year, I did have some nice wide linen pants that I wore over my summertime compression, and that was a really great combo. Put some sandals on. I think that makes a big difference for me. If I can have sandals on instead of shoes and socks, it can really make a big difference in how hot I feel. Stacy 007 likes to wear them with maxi dresses. Absolutely. That sounds lovely. 100-pound roller coaster weight loss journey. Yes, I've been on that roller coaster too. Welcome. But yeah, definitely if you're in Mexico, consider trying out those summer weight leggings from CzSalus. And I want to say I keep talking about like there's only one. So on Amazon, they only have the K1 weight available. But about a year ago, they did release a K2 weight of the summertime that's only available on their website. I was so excited because I usually wear the stronger compression. And I just have to be honest, in my video review of the summertime leggings, I share this, but I had a terrible experience with the K2. I wore them for the first time getting on an airplane. It was like not even a 2 hour flight. And by the time I landed, I just wanted to burst into tears because it was so painful to wear those. And they left deep, like diamond texture indents all over my legs. I was very persistent. I wore them until they loosened up and were comfortable. But it took a good like 10, 12 wears of those K2 summertime. So I'm a real fan of the K1 summertime, that lighter compression like you'll see on Amazon. I find that really soft and comfy, but watch out for the K2. And if you do buy the K2, I would recommend sizing up. There was something about it that was just different, and really, really uncomfortable for me. Okay, perfect. Yes, please do report back after you try them. Okay. Meg is Bioflex with both arms and legs. Ugh. Oh, your compression is bunching. Yeah, that is the worst. The worst. I hate when I leave the house in a rush and I realize I start walking and I'm like, oh no, like they're bunched behind my knees and it's going to be like that for like the next 3 hours because I was rushing and I didn't get them pulled up quite right. That bunching is just the worst, right? Even when you have the right size, sometimes the bunching can happen. But if it is bunching a lot, that can also be a sign that you have the wrong size. It could be too big, believe it or not, because it's not, that's keeping it from kind of staying put on your skin. It could be worn out, like stretched out. It could be even too, I've had like too small, right? I can't pull it up high enough, and that causes it to bunch. And this could be a segue if we want to talk about arms. Let me see what else is coming in here. Um, Lisa, yes, 100% sandals make a huge difference. If you can get some air on your feet, you're going to feel so much better. Main paper pusher, there are open crotch options in many brands of compression. CzSalus definitely has some, but it might not be listed with their lipedema line. But look around, I have never used those, but that could be an option, especially I saw someone posting a comment about like going to the bathroom frequently and things like that. And having, certainly it's like it's a workout for all of us, right? Anytime you go to the bathroom to get it on and get it off, especially like in an airplane bathroom. Oh my God, right? Um, so yes, that's something to look into. CzSalus does have open crotch options, but you're going to have to look in and see what the compression levels are. I haven't shopped those in detail. Okay, since Meg was asking about arms, we can jump there for a minute actually, because I do get questions about arm compression, and I do have a video about arm compression that is linked in the resource guide. But let me just show you kind of the options for arm compression that you may consider. So this first one is what's called a bolero. And those of you in hot climates, this is probably, if you're going to wear arm compression, this is the one I would recommend just because there's less fabric to deal with. You can see it's really just sleeves, right? And then it connects at the back. But I want to highlight, I'm pausing here to highlight what the challenge that I have with boleros is that it stops right in your armpit. And so I often find that it kind of pinches and feels uncomfortable in the armpit area. But if you're in a hot climate, like, and you really want to wear arm compression, that might be a trade-off that you are willing to make. Um, and this one is from Bioflex. There's been a lot of chat about Bioflex leggings, but I want to just highlight that this is a what a Bioflex Bolero arm compression looks like. And you can see there the texture, right? It's got that diamond texture that's kind of similar to what we saw with the CzSalus there. But it's, again, it doesn't have a compression rating. They're not telling you these are the millimeters of mercury, like, 15 to 20 or whatever. Nothing like that. Really, what you're getting with this is the texture and then that gentle massage on your skin. So that's a Bolero from Bioflex. So that's an option of arm compression. And in both of these, you see me wearing it over a tank top. That's so that I'm not naked in the video. Certainly, you could wear that. You could and would want to wear that right over your bare skin. Um, the style that I find more comfortable but is not great for hot weather is like a full shirt. And so this option is from CzSalus. It's a little tricky to put on. So in the video, I have some tips about like how to get it on. And you can see me doing it here. But it's a shirt, right? So it's going to be warmer. There's a lot more fabric. But what I love is how long it is. You can see I've said earlier I'm 5 foot 5 inches tall. It's almost like a mini dress on me, right? Like it's so long. Um, and there's the texture again, right? Really similar. We see that diamond texture again. And the CzSalus shirt does actually have a compression rating on it. This is the K1 compression. So you're getting the texture, and then you're also, that you are getting that compression rating. One thing about, I said that I showed you the garment being really long. One thing that's great about that is um, I find things roll up less. So when it's nice and long like that, it's not rolling up on me throughout the day, which I super, super hate. Um, and you can see on my skin there how it's left the texture. I frequently get questions from new compression wearers saying like, oh my gosh, I took my compression off and there's marks all over my skin. That's perfectly normal as long as they're not painful. That's perfectly normal, perfectly natural. That's like means the garment is working. It means that you had some swelling and it was able to kind of dig in and grip on your skin. And as you continue wearing it over time, you should see those become less pronounced. So that is the shirt version. And those are the two that you will see most commonly, are the shirt and the bolero. So Meg, I'm not sure that that really answered your question. It kind of sounds like you are having a sizing issue. You just bought them in March, so they're pretty new. It's possible you've had some decongestion. I don't know if you were wearing arm compression before or this is your first time, but it really, I know you don't want to hear this because you're like, I just spent money. It sure could be a sizing issue. And if it's painful, like compression, that's something I really want to emphasize. Your compression should not be causing you pain. That's something that I hear probably more often than I would like to, for sure, as people say, like, my compression hurts, my compression's painful. It shouldn't be. It should be giving you relief. It should feel good. I mean, you have a curve of like getting used to it, right? But it should not be causing you pain. And so if it is, try to get some help figuring out what's going on. But I think in a lot of cases, it's going to be a sizing issue. The fabric is just not able to get quite where it needs to. Oh, and I see there was more from Meg here. Let me see. Um, yeah. Well, Meg, I don't know if you were here. Look into the price that CzSalus charges for custom arms. They do custom for the leggings. I'm sure they do customs for the arms, and custom sizing is much more affordable from them than from some of the other companies. Um, if I don't know, I can't remember if they have a Bolero, but look at the options that they have, look at the prices, and it might be more within reach than you think. And I've never bought custom from them, but I've had probably 3 people reach out in the last month and say they were just super happy with the custom that they got from CzSalus. Diane is having a great experience with Medivein Comfort Sculpt. Awesome. She also has the Bioflag Bolero, itchy and uncomfortable. Yeah, I know that was kind of you see, like I'm not wearing arm compression, right? I generally don't wear arm compression unless I'm feeling like super, super swollen, just because it feels like so much. I feel like Catwoman, right? If I have the leggings and the arms and and then you got to go outside and do something, it can just be a lot. 100-pound roller coaster weight loss, has had good luck with the Key King compression sleeves. Meg, maybe check into that Key King. I don't know if that's available in the US. She said she's getting it in Mexico. Um, that's really interesting. I'll have to look into that. I've never heard of that brand. Simone, you're gonna have to tell us more about this tool for standing peen. I've never heard of such a thing, but that is hilarious. And yes, you're getting at my fear with the open crotch compression is that I would just make a mess of it immediately. Um, Cece, I'm so glad that compression garments have changed your life. Oh my God, they changed mine too. It's really like magic. I was like, why did I not know about this before? Um, Beautiful. Oh, great. The Key King ships from Amazon, so they must be available in the US. Perfect. Uh, there are tips about, okay, tips are coming in about the open crotch compression. So if you're watching the replay, make sure you check out the chat. I'm not going to read everything out loud. This is a family friendly live stream here. But there are tips. So there are ways to do it. That's great. Okay, let me get back on track. So we just looked at arms. Let's come to another question that we received in advance, which is skincare. So Katie Bradley, 5143, said, what tips do you have for skincare? She said, my arms are getting dried out from wearing compression, and the crook of my elbow is getting irritated. And there was more that I couldn't fit on this slide, but she said, like, I don't want to ruin my garments with lotion. What do I do? And that is the right kind of thought and concern to be having, which is you don't want to be putting on lotion right before you put on your garment because that lotion is going to get on your garment and compromise the fibers. So the time that you want to put on lotion, I certainly have dry legs, probably as a result of wearing compression all the time, but I put on lotion at night. So after I take off my compression, take my shower right as I'm getting into bed, I slather up. I have some, I was going to bring some in here and show it to you, and I forgot. Some shea butter that I put on my legs from Mother's Shea, and I'll add a link to it. I don't have it in the resource guide, but I'll add it. And I slather that all over my feet and legs, and then I let it soak in at night, all night. So that would be my advice if you're going to put on lotion. You're exactly right to not want to get it on your garment. Put it on at night. Give yourself all of that time for it to soak into your skin. That said, my other question and thought here is how are you washing your garment? And this is a really key thing that I got wrong for a really long time. You want to be washing your garment every time that you wear it because they are expensive and I've seen some of you talking about that in the chat, right? Like, I don't want to buy the wrong thing because I can't return it and it's so expensive to begin with. Um, when I first started out, I had one pair and I wore it all week and then washed it on the weekend, right? That is the wrong way. That is the wrong way to do it. When you're going to wear your garment out really fast. And two, it's every single time you wear it. And I'm sure you all have noticed this, right? Like after you wash it, it's like fresh and ready to go again. But if you wear it and then you rewear it a second day, it's not giving you as much compression. It's already a little bit stretched out. So it's really important to wash your garment every single time that you wear it to get all your skin oils and everything like that off it. And that's going to extend the life of your garment. And it's going to it's going to make the garment work better for you. Every subsequent wear that you do without washing it, it's going to be less and less and less stretchy. And also, you want to not do not use your regular detergent with your garments. I was really confused about this at the beginning, and was fortunate to run into the CzSalus folks at a conference, and I asked them, I said, like, there's not really directions about how to wash your garment. What should I be doing? What kind of soap should I use? And they were sort of like confused. They were like, why do you need soap? Like, why do you think you need to use soap on the garment? Just throw it in the water and wash it. And I thought that was crazy. What do you mean wash it without soap? But that's what I do. I don't like to hand wash. I hand washed for years when I lived abroad. But I throw mine in my washing machine on gentle cycle with no water, with oh gosh, yes, with water, with no soap. Wash it on cold on the gentle cycle and air dry it. And if I feel, I told you I like to exercise a lot, I sweat a lot. If I feel like, wow, these garments are just really, really, really dirty, I do have a special compression wash that I have used, and I linked this in the resource guide for you. This is from Medi, and it is a special medical compression wash. Medi is the one that I've used. If you look, you'll see other brands on Amazon, and you can, choose what you think you want to try. It is a little bit pricey. This little bottle is, I don't know, $15, $20, something like that. So that's another reason why I don't use it every time I wash it, right? But it's nice to have for those kind of times where you're like, wow, my garment's really extra dirty. But even woolite, you want to avoid using woolite on your garments. It is not as delicate as they tell you that it is. Really look for something that's specifically marketed for compression garments. So avoid hot water, avoid standard detergents. They are really going to shorten the lifespan of your garment. And we spend so much money, we want to use it for as long as possible, right? Um, so, Katie Bradley, that would be like my question for you is like, how are you washing your garment? Is there a chance that it is irritating your skin, either because it's not getting clean enough or because you're using a soap or detergent on it that could be contributing to your dry skin and any irritation. Certainly, if you're sweating on a garment and then you're wearing it again the next day, you're increasing the chance of skin irritation, infections, anything like that. So I hope that's helpful. I see there's a lot going on in the chat, so I'm going to check quick and see if someone has said something in here about, okay, so there's some stuff going on in here about lotion. Christine says she likes coconut oil, because it's more affordable. Certainly, that could be a great option. Cheese is its own food group, suggests wearing a thick, creamy lotion after shower. Yeah, so the shea butter that I use, it's like almost like a paste, so it's very thick. But she suggests using something thick and wearing something light on top. Yep, for sure, so that you don't lose it all in your bed sheets. Um, And main paper pusher, I think I just answered this question. I wear my garment one day and then I wash it. And this is why it's important to have multiple pairs. You want to have at least two pairs that you're rotating through at any given time so that one can be air drying while you're wearing the other one. I tend to like sometimes forget to do laundry every single day. So I generally have about three pairs that I'm rotating through, especially, if I'm having to travel, and hotel rooms like clothes don't often air dry well there, right? So I generally have three pairs that I'm kind of rotating through at any given time. And that allows you to wear it one day, wash it, and then have another one hopefully ready to go. So wear it one day and then wash it if possible. And I know finances are always a struggle, but if possible, avoid wearing your garment for multiple days without washing it. Um, okay, so I see, so I'm going to put, you're already doing this, but let me, invite you one last time to give Katie Bradley any suggestions you have about dry skin and tips for taking care of your garments. One tip that I got on an old video that I thought was just so clever, I had complained that I don't like kind of wringing out my garments by hand after like hand washing them. And someone said that they use a salad spinner, the sort of thing that you would use like after you wash the lettuce to get the water off of it. She said I just put it in the salad spinner, and you hit the button on the top and it spins it. And she said that's how I get the water out of my garment after I wash it. And I thought that was really clever. I see pause a lot. Um, Says she struggles to wear K1 regularly due to the constricting feeling and opt for knee highs. Do I think K1 extra large would help with transition? Um, you could certainly try it. It's going to, if the garment is larger, if you're sizing up, it is going to not give you as much compression. Um, But you could also look into the BioFlex, would be an alternative. So you're going to get that texture. You're going to have kind of a softer garment without the compression, but you're still going to have the texture that will tug on your skin. And the BioFlex comes in different variations. You could also try, and I tried this at the beginning and had like mixed feelings about it, but you could try it and see if it works for you. You could try wearing your knee high compression that you have right now and adding a BioFlex kind of bicycle short sort of thing that might come down to your knees. So you're kind of like mixing and matching different compressions to get what you need, and that might help you kind of give your body some support. Why I'm kind of like why knee highs weren't a great option for me is because it was moving the fluid up out of my lower leg, but then just like dumping it all right in my knee. And so I would get kind of like this puffy bulge right at the top of the knee high compression garment. And you really want to keep it moving up so that it's being processed and removed from your body. You don't just want to move it from one part of your body to another. You want to help it get all the way up and out. And your lymph and stuff, it gets processed up here in your chest and your heart. So you need to move it all the way up. If you're just moving it from your lower leg to kind of your upper leg, it's not going to get processed enough out of your body. So if you want to pair something like a bicycle short with the knee high that you're doing well with now, that could be an option to try to help give your body some support, moving that lymph to the next stage. You could also try some dry brushing, techniques like that that you can use to really target it, try to help keep that fluid moving up and out. But if you want to try the K1 extra large, I'm certainly not going to discourage you to if you think um, that would kind of help you get over that constricting feeling. But just kind of based on all the people here today saying they've had such a positive experience with BioFlex, you may also look into that and you may have a really similar experience with the BioFlex as you would of sizing up in a CzSalus. I hope that's helpful. Pause a lot. Um, there is still stuff going on here about the open crotch garments. So make sure that you are following the chat, those of you who are curious. Main paper pusher. So I don't hand wash my garments. I wash mine in the washing machine. And so I just throw them in on gentle cycle with cold water, let the cycle run, and then I take them out and hang them up. Um, if you're hand washing it, do what you have the stamina to do. Beautiful. Let me see what else we have going on. Let me double check our Q&A. Folks have been using that, so I want to make sure that I'm not missing something. So Sue E, if you're still here, you had asked about arms. I hope that our arm discussion was helpful for you. If not, please come back and let us know what other questions you have. Do I have a second favorite compression brand? Um, I would say probably Marena, but I Marena because I think they're nice for like a more dressy sort of compression, maybe where you're gonna wear it under, like I said, I wore mine under a fairly form-fitting jumpsuit that my CzSalus would have maybe like clung to a little bit. My challenge with Marina is my height. It doesn't come in different lengths, and it honestly is too long for me at 5'5". I find I want to like roll up the bottom because otherwise I have too much fabric and it's bunching everywhere. Um, yeah, that would probably be my second favorite. But the challenge with Marina is it's much more expensive than CzSalus. I would be remiss not to mention that. If you do want to buy it, I would recommend waiting until there's kind of like a holiday around holidays or like those big Amazon like Prime days, things like that. You can often get them 30-40% off, which makes it much more affordable, but still more expensive than CzSalus. So it's clearly like a well-made garment. It's just expensive. And I know that's a challenge because we get so little support from our insurance. I will say Marina comes in two different leg shapes. That's one nice thing about them. There's like an early state lipedema legging with a slightly more tailored leg, and then the mid state is designed more for a larger calf. And when I looked this morning, the mid state, so the one with that larger calf, is currently 50% off on Amazon as of today. which is the lowest price I've ever seen it. So if you think that might be um, a good fit for you, this could be a really great opportunity to get it at a lower price. The challenge with Marena is you cannot return it once you open it. Many of the CzSalus garments, if you purchase through Amazon, it's quite easy to return it. You can't do that with the Marena. There's a little sticker when you look at the product page, it will say you can return it, and you can. You just can't return it if you've opened it. There's a little sticker that says like if this sticker is broken, you cannot return it. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then Rebecca, I see your question here about crotch-free garments. There has been so much about that in the chat. I hope that something there has been helpful to you. And then let me switch back over to our chat. And I'm going to end the Q&A. So if you have more questions, go ahead and just put them in our live chat here. Pause a lot. That's good to know. Pause a lot says the Q&A did not work on iPhone. I also did not like it. I found it more confusing for me, so I don't think we'll do it that way. Again, we'll just let you chat everything here, and I'll do my best. Simone asked, do I ever skip a day wearing my compression? No, I don't. And that's because at the beginning, when I did, like, I notice it. I notice it immediately. I see it in my feet. I feel it in my legs. My skin starts to feel a little stretched. I see, my feet looking swollen. I will say, like, sometimes on the weekend, I take my time putting them on. I'll get up and I'll put on my sweatpants and I'll have my coffee and I'll like bop around the house for an hour or two um, before I put them on. And that's kind of my like lazy start to the day. Because I often joke like putting on my compression in the morning is the hardest part of my day. And then it's like downhill from there once I can just get my pants on. But I do wear them every day. But to the extent that you feel that you need to, could depend. On your symptoms. Like I said at the beginning, I have lipedema, lymphedema, and venous insufficiency, which means like I have the trifecta of swellings. I swell really easily, and I just do my best to keep it managed all the time, and compression helps with that. So, that's what I do. If you like hate compression and you haven't found something that works for you yet, do not beat yourself up, right? This was something that I really internalized at the beginning of my journey is I was like, listen, Rebecca, you're going to have to do this the rest of your life, right? Like who knows, maybe they're going to find something, but currently there is no cure for lipedema, right? We just manage our symptoms. And I did not want to be miserable the rest of my life, right? I was like, I don't want to do something that I hate doing every single day. I want to do things that make my life better, that support healing, that support me feeling better. And so if compression is something that you like hate and it makes your like life and your day actively worse, rather than trying to like force yourself to do it, try some of the other self-care strategies. Maybe, vibration. Try that. See if that helps. Be more active. Can you go to the walk? Can you go walking? Can you go to the pool? I don't like swimming, so I don't go to the pool. But maybe you do. And the beautiful thing about the water is it acts as a natural compression and really, really helps to drain fluid from your body. But, you know, wear compression as much as you can. Continue to look for compression that fits and that you don't hate wearing every day. But just try to remember like the whole point of all of this, the whole reason you're doing all of this is to make your life better, right? And if whatever you're doing to manage your lipedema is just making you more miserable, well, like, shoot, what's the point? You want to be feeling better. You want to be getting more active. You want to be enjoying your life. You want to reduce your symptoms. And that's just not going to be worth it if you're miserable. So compression is a great conservative treatment. I really do recommend that you have the perseverance to try to find something that works for you. But if you're still on that journey and everything you have right now is making you miserable, don't make yourself miserable every day. Wear it when you feel like you need it. Do your best and stick with it. Really, really take care of yourself. That's what all of this is about. And I will say, I was just talking about my swelling. What has really, really, really helped my swelling. I know this today is not about keto. Our last one was about keto, but going keto really, really helped improve my inflammation and my swelling. And part of that was just like cutting out a lot of stuff that was giving me swelling, but also food sensitivities. If you're like, listen, Rebecca, I'm not going to do keto, figure out, are there some foods or other things in your environment that might be giving you swelling and inflammation. And my kind of approach to all of this has been, if I can just give my body less things to be angry and swollen about, I'll have less to have to clean up and manage later. So if you hate compression, what are other things that you can do to support your body so that it has less yuck and less fluid that it has to clean up to begin with? Um, and yeah, okay, other people are in the Triple Crown Club with me. Yeah, we've got all three, and we will have beautiful lives anyway. Yeah, and I see Marcy saying keto has helped her too. Yeah, it was a super, super, super hard decision for me to go on keto. I don't know why, but I was like, I just, it's not worth living. Like, I love sugar so much. Like, why would I do that? And wow, like, who knew? But I will do one last plug here because we had quite a few folks join late. One thing that's made keto so much easier for me is that I absolutely love the collagen MCT and collagen bars from Perfect Keto, and they're having a huge sale for Memorial Day. Those of you in the US, we're about to have Memorial Day, and you can have early access to the sale with my link here. That's the only way you can access the sale, and it's one of their biggest sales of the year. So try some of those or stock up if you found stuff that you love. And before we end, I just want to kind of share with you and kind of reflect with you something that I have been thinking about lately and that's been really helpful for me on my journey is so often we like look around and we're like, there's everything is terrible. Everything is terrible. Where is the hope? Where is the light? And I so often, kind of say to myself this quote from Rumi, which is, if everything around you seems dark, look again, you may be the light. And I will often say to myself, in those on those really hard days when nothing's going right, when I don't feel good, when the scale is not cooperating, is say like, oh yeah, like everything seems really bad because I'm the light. And so I want to ask you, you can tell I'm a big fan of quotes, but I really want you to think about that you are what you believe yourself to be. And I just told you what I tell myself when I'm kind of having a hard time, which is like you are the light. Be the good, be the positive in this situation. And I kind of want to ask you, what is the thing that you are going to frame in your mind? What are you going to tell yourself that is going to shape your reality? Go ahead and tell me in the chat. Tell each other, what is one kind or empowering or superwoman kind of thing that you commit to saying to yourself this week, that's going to kind of give you the strength and the courage to keep going, whether that's with researching compression or doing something else to take care of yourself. So please tell me, what are you going to say to yourself this week when everything is dark? Yes, I love that. You're worthy. 100%. We are all worthy. Um, Meg, you are as precious as gold. Absolutely. Tell me all those kind things that you are going to say to yourselves. Simone, thank you so much for being here. It was such a pleasure to have you here again this week, and you taught us all many things that we did not know. Thank you for that. Pause a lot, one day at a time, 100%. And I would add something that I often say is um, tomorrow's another day, right? You know, maybe something didn't go right today. We'll try again tomorrow. Um, it's always a fresh start. Marcy, 100%, you got this. You got this. And we are all beautiful. Absolutely. One of my favorite quotes that I shared in a previous live is beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself. Um, that really sums it up for me. And with that, I want to thank all of you for being here with me today. The support you've shown each other, the support you've shown me, this community, more than I think any of you realize, is a source of inspiration and motivation for me. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me and support each other. Mwah! And I will see you next time.